right, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, shave your heads and throw your babies in the air. It's time for Radio Loud. I'm your host, Douglas Dobert. This week it's the usual suspects, Stefan Weber and Sean Sullivan. So, how we doing this week, boys?
Cooler than a bass player playing it cool, baby.
It's cool. Work was a little rough.
Yeah.
At the tail end of the week.
I want you to fucking reiterate what the fuck you texted us earlier.
Oh, yeah.
If you could just mildly explain for the viewers
Talking about the Lego thing?
Yeah, without
I need you to explain for me, man. What the fuck is going on?
like I could kind of see why they would do that, but it seems kind of stupid.
They used to do one-on-one training at my work. And
but start off with kind of like giving a little overview for like the listener what you do without saying too much.
It's all top secret, Doug. I mean, naval equipment, power systems. But it's not complicated stuff. And we used to do one-on-one training, which worked really well, I think. I think it worked really well for most people. I mean, sometimes you get paired up with a dud trainer or whatever else, but now they're doing it en masse in the basement with a new supervisor, with a new engineer, with all new employees, and they're like, why is all this stuff coming out of there all wrong? We're going to buy BB-88 Legos and see if these guys know how to build stuff. And when I heard this, I was like, you're bullshitting me. And another guy's like, no, that's happening. I told them to buy me one for my kid.
Yeah, I said fucking sign me up when you texted me that shit.
I've come to find because for the listener, I've worked at this same top secret facility.
Yeah, that's why we have the curtains drawn so the government can't find us.
Yeah,
in our disclosed bunker.
This is actually Pirate RadioLOUD broadcasting under duress.
Oh, those curtains are actually iron. Those are the iron curtains.
Yeah, they have the lead in them from like the X-rays and stuff.
We are the RLLR, the RadioLOUD.
They're manufactured in China, so the lead content's up.
It's just so high.
But I've learned a lot of people are lying when they say I have experience building things.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because people think that anybody can just
do it,
build anything, and this is the first time I've ever worked at a place where I'm doing something like comparably complicated to what we did there. And they're looking at me like, we've never had anybody who knows how to do this. I'm like, well, yeah, I have experience. And they're like, well,
that's always a lie.
Yeah, but like no one ever means that. And I'm like, oh, well, I actually worked somewhere where we built like things more complicated than this, actually. But you try not to say that to you. It's like, actually, your job doesn't seem that fucking hard, dick.
Yeah. Of course you don't want to say that because then they're just like, well, he just had his nose up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, I did to start a new job, though, and I actually kind of really like it.
Congratulations.
I'll give it a couple weeks.
Oh, I mean, obviously, it's still got that fucking new
that
job
new car smell.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm still like, I'm still new, so everybody's just like, oh, fresh blood, and they come over and like they're kind of like, they're like energized for 2 days, but then like you catch them on like a month from now on like a Thursday, and they're just like, get the fuck out of my face, dude.
But for real, I could see. If you're putting together electrical components that can possibly electrocute somebody, if you can't put together a goddamn BB-8 model and have it looked at and be like, yes, this was done correctly, yeah, maybe you shouldn't be fucking doing that.
I am going to admit, up until this exact moment, I was thinking like hard block BB-88, like cube blocks with like a few non-motorized parts, but it's probably one of those like those Technics.
It's a 12 and up model.
Yeah, those are
called
dope.
Technics with the electrical components.
I actually have
the gears and stuff.
I have a bootleg Porsche 911 set that I haven't put together, and it literally has like a transmission in it, like a 5-speed transmission in it, like gear pistons and all that stuff. It's kind of, but from what I've read, being it's bootleg, the tolerances aren't as good as like the actual Lego, so like some of the gears will like seize up a little bit. You have to push it a little bit harder.
Yeah, some of your circle gears are a little more oval. Got a little bit of that boom 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 going on.
See, I assume they were just going to buy a bunch of items like this.
Oh,
Why you gotta play your hate on
I can build that.
88. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, like that's.
I
probably
can
what they're
build
working
that.
on.
No problem.
You'd be surprised.
No, we
Yeah, I
wouldn't.
mean,
we
I
work
won't
with
be.
people who fail at doing things. Tasks
won't be
more simpler
surprised.
than this on a daily basis.
I won't be surprised.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be this one.
It's literally two pieces.
They just have to click them together, but you got people trying to put the
The head will be on the
triangle in,
bottom.
It's the
circle.
smooth surface for easy insertion.
They give them two pieces and a fucking jar of lube and say, "Make it go in."
They say, "Don't stick this
But I
in your
mean-
asshole."
The real question is, at what point do they just admit that this training program is a failure and get rid of the guy that's in charge of, who said he could, who promised he could do these things and clearly cannot deliver, and to my knowledge isn't even involved in this process whatsoever? That's the most absurd thing about it.
Here's the problem: you make custom things, you need tribal knowledge.
Yeah,
And as much as people want to like eliminate group
that's why you got to pair them
knowledge,
up with the hunters.
yeah, you pair off the new people with the more experienced people, and some of those new people will stick, some won't, because that's like the nature of the fucking game. But they want to eliminate the need for anybody who has to do more than read an instruction and turn a thing, and that's not how complicated anything fucking works.
There are people there that are just like, I need this to tell me to turn the screw to the right. It's like, go home. Go home.
Yeah, for real. That's why like my new place is kind of good. They have
Some smart chaps.
Yeah, and they are allowed to use their brains when they build. In fact, they are encouraged because they do a lot of variations on the same. We build a giant like industry like plasma cutters and lasers and stuff for basically commercial places that cut steel and other sorts of material.
You sell the robotic equipment to the people phasing out their
The workers,
manufacturing.
yeah. So I'm building your replacements, people. I'm building the robot armies of the future.
He was thinking ahead.
It's like, oh, I'll just get a job servicing our overlords. I'll give out fucking robo jobs for a living. So it's basically a lot of variations because each place wants a different thing with like a different size table, different tolerances, different add-ons and shit. So they basically have a generic drawing for these different styles, and then
just
you'll
add a couple
and
custom
you'll know
parts.
which parts go to what. So it's a lot of just like using your head, knowing how the different parts will interchange, knowing how the different lines go. Like I've done a lot of plumbing work and working.
It's like buying a car, all the different add-ons you want. You want a sunroof? You got it, baby. We can put that on your plasma cutter.
Dude, 100%. We're actually making one for Germany, the motherland, right now, and I'm actually building that one. It's like one of the high-tech lasers, because they actually don't have the laser version of this in Germany, because we developed that at our plant. So we're sending this back to the homeland for a trade show. So we're like, and I basically am doing all of the like argon, hydrogen, nitrogen fuel lines on this fucking thing.
And it's not being used to kill people.
I know, doesn't that rock?
That must make you feel real good.
This is going to give somebody a job. They're going to work on this. They're going to help somebody.
Speaking of robots and people, I was watching this really interesting thing this week about a job that I don't think any of us would ever want, being we have the fucking feel of deep, dark water. It's called saturation diving. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Basically,
I think so.
what oil companies will do is they have diver crews that have to go down to like 300 meters or some shit like
Nope.
that. They were it's like pitch
Nope.
black down there. They were saying it's like two big bends end on end, and one would only breach the surface. That's like where a lot of these components are. So in order to get around like the compression and like having to decompress when they bring divers up, they basically put these guys in a fucking closed loop tank that
Yeah,
they
and
live in for
basically-
28 days. No, they don't put them down or anything. They're in the boat at the pressure of the depth that they have to work at.
Is this a shot of the inside of the tank that I got right here?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, it looks like one of those. Like, there's four dudes.
I bet they make bank, though. I bet they make really
They only
good money.
work like 4 or 5 months out of the year.
Yep, but then they're good for the rest of the year. It's probably just like oil drilling, where you only have to go live on the rig for
A month.
like 3 months, and then you're set for like 2 years.
Well, the thing is, like, it's more rigorous for the other workers because they're basically like on the rig, like working these like super long shifts. These guys can only dive for like 6 hours.
I
at
know,
a
but
time.
nobody wants to do it.
Yeah, nobody wants to do
None
it.
of us want to do it. They
And you have
probably
to
make good
fucking
money.
live in a tank for 28 days. And get this, oxygen at that pressure is fucking, it'll kill you. So they have to breathe this special mixture of helium
Yep.
and oxygen. And they literally talk like fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks for 28 days.
That'd be good for like the first,
Dude.
the first night.
I literally can't even get around my own fucking city. How am I not gonna get lost in pitch black, deep, dark water?
Oh, it gets worse, Sean.
I am losing my way instantly. Unless I'm holding somebody's hand, I am fucked.
So when they fucking like have to walk across the seabed and shit, because they're walking on the seabed.
Bottom of the bottom
They're
of the
kicking
ocean.
up all this fucking muck and
And
shit.
then you really can't see.
Yeah, and it's just like a plume of dirt in the water that you're fucking looking at. So basically, they still have to do this. There's like not automated, but there's robots that people can pilot, like with a joystick from the boat above, but they still can't do like simple tasks reliably, like turning a screw. So they have to send a fucking person out there.
Because robots still can't make this motion.
Well, it's like you could,
Oh,
but
man.
like if you fucking drop the shit, man.
You want to know how much
Yeah.
they make? Probably somewhere around $25 an hour. That's not shit.
Well, shit, if you're only working like 5 hours a day, I would figure that there'd be a different kind of pay structure depending on what you're doing.
Having a little issue loading.
Well, you also get paid for. I wonder if it's just you're paid for all the hours that you're in there
Probably.
because you're always on, but they have to like have everything, all the food that they're given pass through like this little airlock into the tanks and shit.
If you're a weld diver, you could make up to $80,000 a year, supposedly, according to this random website I pulled up, waterwelders.com. I
Yeah.
don't know how reliable that is, but
Potentially
What are they selling?
fucking die.
but I mean, electrical testers where I work make more than that.
Yeah.
So
Go touch this that the fuck up that couldn't build the BB-8 Lego set made.
I mean, usually,
Yeah.
usually there's so many precautions you're good at that point. I mean, there definitely have been a couple zaps, but
At our place?
yeah, there have never not been any fatal ones.
No, but
Been a
I
couple
think
scary
that's
ones,
also
but-
a matter of luck, because we had in my short time before leaving 3 or 4 pretty major explosions in a test lab.
But
One
there are definitely some precautions taken.
Yeah, but some of those labs also do look like Spider-Man, just like hung from the ceiling and jizzed all over the top, and it's just wires that are just skeeted all over. And if you're taller than 5'5",
That's like, I'm just thinking about coming copper wire and like that getting
Oh, I thought you were gonna
into
say
your
silly
skin.
string.
That's fucking disgusting. man.
don't worry, it's insulated.
My urethra hurts.
It would.
Yeah.
Saturation diving, interesting. I don't think you boys make enough.
Right? Well, the fucking oil company, they got to make that fucking money.
But that was just an underwater welding salary.
So to get down to depth, they have to go into a diving bell and they have to like keep everything at pressure from the surface of the boat. And that's like the weakest point of the entire structure. So if something should rupture and they have to decompress rapidly, they'd literally explode. Like their organs would fill up with fucking air and they'd blow up.
Yeah, that's why actually, even if you just kind of, when you're fucking around like scuba, you can't go too deep and then come straight up.
Yeah, because the nitrogen bubbles form in your blood and you get what's called the bends.
okay, I
Yeah.
think I found a website with a little more accurate numbers here. This is actually posted last month. Commercial divers, including SAT divers, was 55,000-ish a year, with a range of about 30,000 to 96,000. I think that's a little more accurate on the high end there for sure.
Yeah, so they probably make that on a seasonal like dive over a couple of good months. Maybe even only do 1 or 2 big, 28-day loops in a year, and they probably make all that money.
From what I've heard, they do 4 or 5
Like a year or a season?
a year.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, probably like basically 1 a season.
So you work 4 months.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you're down there, you said 28 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Nah.
all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
nah.
Still living in your own casket.
I
so.
can make $55,000 at my current job.
But
You know?
you have to work 12 months.
Yeah. But I also
you'd
don't
have-
have to get lost at the bottom of the ocean. So
I also don't have to face one of my deepest, darkest fears on a daily basis. Yeah, you'd get used to it, you know.
either that or you'd crack. All work and no play makes Sean a dull boy.
Oh, you just imagine that you fucking cracking on the inside of a fucking tank with three other people stuck in there with you,
There's a movie for
crazy.
you.
right?
I think that's actually 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm pretty sure that's basically the premise of that.
Or they could just remake Rocket Man with Harlan Williams, where he goes to Mars and they're like doing this fucking like test thing for like isolation. And he's like one of two candidates, and one's like the perfect candidate. And Harlan Williams is fucking Harlan Williams. He's just like a goofball. But he drives the other guy crazy just because he's like so dumb. He's just like singing to himself and like he's like totally fine with it. And the other guy's like thinking he's hearing voices and shit. Just put Harlan Williams in a fucking saturation tank with three other people for
I'd
fucking
watch
30
them
days.
kill him and be like, well, what happened to the fourth guy? We went down there and he never came back. There was an accident. We don't know. It's blood smeared all over their mouths because they ate him.
Oh, yikes. All right.
Do we have
time here.
any small children in chat?
It's just
Yeah.
me by my lonely today.
All right.
Twitch has been a colossal failure.
Pack it up, boys. We're not wanted here.
No.
All right. Let's take a short break.
What are we set under? What kind of stuff are we under for Twitch?
I don't know. We can talk about it in the break. We'll be right back. All right. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Dumb fuck forgot to start the DAW up. So where were we? Yeah, we were talking about how much saturation diving fucking
Would be
sucks.
awful. And that they should turn it into a movie.
All right, let's see here. I think I had a couple of interesting news stories this week.
It's News Corner.
Down in the bunker.
Oh yeah, being we've been talking about like facial recognition tech a bunch. There was a story dealing with Amazon's facial recognition tech. They just like fed it a database of like 25,000 faces, and it improperly matched 28 of them to members of Congress.
Oh, this was the
What
criminals?
you're talking about is somebody ran it against like the criminal database, and they ran the members of Congress against it.
And it came up with a bunch of positive
And
IDs.
it came with like a 28%, or 28 of the members were false positives as
It was
criminals.
28 false false matches, but oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
thing
it was. They scanned it against. I stand corrected. It was 535 members of Congress against 25,000 public mugshots.
And they got 28 false
false
positives. And an interesting fact is that they've actually had this problem a bit with racial bias in facial recognition, where it has a harder time picking out people of like non-white races. And in fact, like the percentage
Just because of like the color contrast on like a face.
I have no idea on the science behind it because I don't know that much about the actual.
I'm not a
science behind it.
facial recognition.
But the numbers were something like 6% of Congress is African American, and like 20% of the false positives were African American.
Oh, you meant the other way around. I thought it was.
No, it's much more accurate on white people than it is on
Yeah.
at least African
Fascinating.
Americans.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
wonder why that might be.
So the police designed something to give them false positives for black people.
It wasn't even the police. It was
I know-
Amazon.
I know that the police didn't actually devise this because
They're
the police
gonna
aren't
use
smart
it.
enough.
They'll use it. And they'll be like, well, you came up on here, but that's not me. But that's not me.
I'm wondering what like the racial like difference though is between like all the different races, because like they made a point about the African American numbers, but like what about, because I know they use it a lot in China right now, and I'm curious about, you know, like the basically like a Chinese person to like a white Caucasian American person, what the
On their technology too.
yeah, exactly, like I'm curious what, like, you know, what the numbers are, but I'm sure the Chinese government won't give them to me, so
Right.
dicks.
Yeah.
I take it back. I think Jinping is still the, or Jianping, or Jianxin.
I don't know. You're the China guy here.
I know, right? I don't remember the name of their prime minister.
Supreme Overlord
Yeah,
Jinping.
their pseudo-elected leader.
Jinping.
Xi Jinping. So I think I said that, or it was close.
You got to get that stuff down, man.
Well, I think they also recently decided that they're not going to have another election for a while, and he's just going to be in charge.
No, he's been voted Supreme Overlord. We talked about that like a month or two ago.
Yeah, like a little bit after that happened, that he's kind of just going to be in charge for a while, and they've decided that
Forever.
putting a new leader up every 5 years is just a little too much work, and look what it did to the Americans. One China, one mind.
Look what it did to the Americans over there. They're being run by an Oompa Loompa.
The world's largest Cheeto stain.
Those Americans love their Doritos, and that guy's just peppered with it.
Dude, for real. And you know, Americans are big on the do as I say, not as I do. And who else are you going to listen to family values for other than the guy who got his mistress an abortion?
Yeah, wasn't there some evidence that came out that whole Stormy Daniels arrest was completely premeditated?
Fabricated?
It's
Yeah.
actually
Not fabricated, but it was
Premeditated. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
'cause
actually a lawsuit or something going on now.
Yeah, because basically some brave soul at the police station was like, no, we were there on a completely unrelated. We're looking into human trafficking.
We
We're
go
out
to
there.
a strip club every fucking week to look at
Yeah,
this.
well, it was a female officer who actually led the sting, and basically somebody in the email chain passed along all her like pre-planning notes and like the stuff and like text messages that were sent on company phones. Yeah, and they basically sent all that shit to the media and was like, yeah, they're bullshitting. And of course the cops are like, well, we didn't, you know, there's no fucking record of any of, you know, obviously it's all bullshit. They're just hoping everybody forgets, and what do you can't prove it. All deniability. And then it's just like, oh wait, cops and accountability is not there unless you have hard fucking evidence.
Like this woman who got kicked in the stomach and then she had her baby by a police officer.
I did not hear
There's
about
some
that.
hard evidence. It was on Yahoo.
I did not hear that.
It's on Yahoo. I bet it's a Florida woman story.
It's a fucking virgin birth for the Bible Belt.
Oh my
Ever heard one?
Kicked a pregnant woman in the stomach and then she had a baby. Just popped right out of her. What? Who kicks a pregnant woman? I mean, at least he didn't shoot her. But like, fuck.
Oh yeah, we had a
Pregnant woman says officers kicked to her stomach made her go into early labor. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't instantaneous.
It was in Florida too.
Florida woman. There was a deadly shooting in Milwaukee this week.
Really?
Yeah, an officer was killed.
Yeah, and this like time it was like pretty cut and dry that
Yeah, I
he
mean,
was
it
like
was-
justified to like. There was like gunshots fired at him first. He was like on a call because this guy was wanted for like possession of heroin and some other charges. And the guy just, as soon as the cops come, was like, "I'm not going to jail again. You have to fucking kill me," and just like started opening fire.
Where was this located?
It was in Milwaukee. I'm not sure what part of Milwaukee, but
Well, the cop, that's the one where the cop died, right?
yeah, he. From what I saw, there was like an interview on the scene, not with like the cop, but like a bystander. And the bystander basically said it didn't look like he was gonna make it. I think he was like 52 years old, 17-year-old veteran, something like
Sure.
that.
Well,
On the
that's the
north
thing. Yeah,
side.
I mean, I knew that a cop had just died. I didn't hear all the details because I don't really have like local news on my TV anymore.
North 28th and West Wright Streets.
Yeah. at the end there. It says, yeah, I mean,
17-year veteran of the force.
I mean, that's the thing is I know especially certain members, myself probably most prominently, have some pretty vocal opinions about members of the police force who behave inappropriately. There are a lot of members of the police force who do not behave inappropriately.
Yeah.
And who do a really good job trying to like make the world like a little better.
There's just like so many more interactions that they don't report because nothing
Exactly, because
is
they were
needed
helpful
to report.
Yeah, I mean,
Or they're just doing what they're supposed to be doing.
like, I mean, there are hero cops because I mean, cops are people. There are some real fucking good ones out there. There are some real fucking bad ones out there.
Yeah, there's also some like hero cops that are like really fucking bad too, you know? Like I heard it put interesting. I was watching some of the that new Ken Burns Vietnam documentary.
Okay.
And he was doing like an interview with like a vet, and he was talking about like that whole hero thing where you have like the personality archetypes where there's like the fucked up hero and the good hero, and they both accomplish essentially the same thing, but you have people who like go into that situation wanting to be that, wanting to make a name for themselves, and then you have like people who just have it like they're thrust into an extraordinary situation where they're like, something is fucked up about this, or you know, got to like do something about it. But he was essentially saying the conundrum is they both accomplish essentially the same thing, but one's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and one of them in his other interactions is probably a piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
So I mean,
He's a walking turd.
So maybe they accomplish some one thing if you look at it like when you talk about like that amazing save or where they do something crazy or bring down the bad guy. But then at the same time, like maybe they turn around and like beat the shit out of somebody who's just like drunk and a little like, you know, just acting a little silly and is, you know, doesn't necessarily need force. They just need to be told to like stop being an asshole and go home. You're drunk. Because like that also happens. I've definitely seen, and I mean, I get it. Being a cop on duty downtown in like some drunk area, you know, some drunk downtown area is probably really annoying and frustrating. But, you know, I've seen some cops take some pretty shitty liberties with drunk people because what are they going to do? Believe a drunk asshole or a cop?
Yeah. Yeah, I had watched that Ken Burns stuff after binging Wild Wild Country, which is something we had talked about last weekend with the cult.
Yeah, okay.
Information. That was a really good documentary, Wild Wild Country. I hadn't heard, like, to be fair, it happened a couple years before I was born and it had been wrapped up before then. But I've heard people talk about, or just say after like this has come out, it was like I was alive during this, and there was like a bunch of fucking like news reports going on of it at the time, and I didn't know anything about it. You know, they were like completely oblivious to it. But to put a couple more details in that we glossed over, this cult basically moved into a town in Oregon, and honestly, some of the shit that they seemed to be doing didn't really seem all that cult-like. It just seemed like a
community thing.
Yeah, it kind of like leaned on like a belief system and stuff like that. And they had like a guy who was pretty much like the cult leader.
Yeah.
But like the people didn't seem overly insane. There was just some like fucked up things that a few people did, and that ended up like influencing a bunch of people to do like have some really fucked up situations they were in because of it. So they
like how so?
The main leader committed immigration fraud, and that's one of the only things that they really slapped him with and like got him out of the country with, because he would have people come in from the country he was from and basically have an arranged marriage.
Oh, okay.
So with it, like somebody in the cult, and they'd like go off and do their other things. It's not like they were expected to like live together in this
But
like society.
he was like fast tracking getting people out of the country.
getting people who supported his views
Green
over.
card marriage, bring them over, and he probably got a cut because of bringing them to America from their parents or their family, or whoever the fuck.
Because they're out of the wherever they were from.
So he said, "I can make you an American citizen for $10,000 probably."
And there was the thing with the homeless that he did. He made it really attractive for people all over the United States to move there because they said they would like, it was like a "give me your tired, you're poor" kind of thing, and that's how they framed
I will feed you
it.
if you show up and vote for me.
Right. And
Thinking of Frank Gallagher and Shameless.
They basically
Because of the
Free
homeless
beer,
house.
yeah.
they basically brought in all these homeless people to do the vote, and then they started like kicking them out because they were like, these are completely
Thanks for voting.
undesirable.
Get out of here.
Yep, and the next election will be canceled.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I'm just like wondering where the fuck all this money came from that this guy had in order to just like move and set up shop.
The followers.
If he was a cult leader in India, the main reason most cults are formed is not because of an actual crazy person who believes their shit. It's somebody who's bilking money. Like, give me all your money. You don't need
Right.
your worldly possessions. Even if it's not everybody in the cult, there are the truly devout, the people who live on site, the people who basically give over their entire
Sean,
bank
he doesn't
account.
know this because he'd never watched that episode of Psych with Diedrich Bader as the cult leader.
Fuck that show.
That episode was great.
Every episode of that
I
show
know.
is great.
Oh, that one was a good one.
Oh,
Yeah, Diedrich Bader plays a cult leader, and they're having a hard time sticking it to him. Because he kills someone too, right?
Well, of course, that's how they get everybody. Everybody's a murderer.
Yeah, no, but
They only catch murderers.
someone tries to leave the cult, and he kills her, or Diedrich Bader has... Sorry if you're about to watch this episode. I think
You had how many years?
I think Diedrich Bader kills her, or he has a henchman do it from the cult, but at the end of it, he
like,
basically,
confesses.
he
as they
basically
always
made
do.
this resort, and people would move there, and they do like the yoga and the organic food stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he was using all the money he was getting off of these people to open a private island that he was going to move to. After he just left all these people high and dry.
Yep.
There's a cult leader for you, with a beautiful voice too.
Did he have the gaze of that one guy? Look upon the gaze of I forget what his name is, but he doesn't say anything. He just like has people like come and look upon the soothing gaze of
Diedrich Bader.
I wish I could just get...
hey, two chicks at the one at one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Fucking A, man.
He evolved. He got out of the construction business and went into cult leading.
Fucking A, man.
Fuck.
In the show. Diedrich
this
Bader is not an actual cult
Frankenstein-looking
leader.
ass.
He's a nice man, I'm sure. I didn't know he was in Star Trek.
Everybody was in Star Trek.
I
at
know.
one point.
Everybody who's somebody
Another-
was in Star Trek.
And everybody's been on an episode of Law and Order as either a killer or a body.
The real question is, whatever happened to the Drew Carey show, man?
It got canceled because it was too good for TV.
But you can't even like watch it on any streaming service.
Did I tell you that I found a random free site on like an app of my Roku that has like
Everything.
it has like 10 seasons of Whose Line Is It Anyway with Drew Carey, and
They have the old school Who's Line on the British one. Sorry.
yeah, but they have the good ones with like Wayne Brady because I'm white and I love Wayne Brady.
Have you ever watched the Drew Carey Amazing Green Screen show?
No,
It's exactly Whose Line Is It Anyway?
but there's only the green
Oh, the
screen,
green screen?
game.
No, it's all the cast members. It's the same like improv crew that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do stuff together, but they do it in front of a green screen and then add in everything that they're acting and
Yeah, that's
afterwards.
basically what they have a game on Whose Line where they do it in front of the green screen and they like fuck around.
Yeah, but it's like they're actually on a green screen soundstage and they like pretty much plunk them.
Yeah,
into
you
the
weren't
world
kidding,
that they're
man.
in.
You got Colin.
Yep.
You got Greg Probst,
Proops.
Proops.
Chip, and
He's gonna start saying Probst just to piss us off now.
I know. I fucking hate when he does that shit. Don't give him any
You got
ideas.
Chip over here. Like I was never funny.
I know.
Which one's Chip?
Chip.
Oh yeah, that guy sucks.
Get out of here, Chip.
I just want to see Colin and Ryan's romance more. That was what I watched that show for.
The love.
Dude, Colin and Ryan did a show at the Riverside that they
I know.
filmed.
Yeah, I saw that.
Greg was
I didn't know
kind
they
of
filmed it,
that
but
Greg.
that's how
That
they
Greg
did
guy
that.
was kind of funny, but
Yeah, I liked
a lot
him.
of times he'd be kind of just like, dude, you're being a dick.
Dude, you're being a dick with a kazoo shoved down its throat. It's his fucking voice. He just got that fucking buzzy.
It's hard to.
It's like a
mimic.
lawnmower revving up.
It's
or
hard
a weed
to.
whacker.
It's hard to mimic such a unique voice.
All right, so let's actually take the break now.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Pull your fingers out of whatever orifice you got them in. We are back with the best segment, Suggestion Box. Stefan Weber, my great co-host and even better friend, do you have any suggestions this week?
I have a dad fight.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
So what do we have already? We have Grill Dad advancing. We have Heroin Dad advancing.
Junkie Dad.
Yeah, wasn't there one more? No, that was
It's Dad.
yeah, Whip Dad versus Angry T-Ball Dad.
Yeah.
Whip Dad advanced.
Yeah, Whip Dad, Junkie Dad.
And then we had a
Dad.
draw between just Tired Dad and Heroin Dad, so nobody advanced.
Somebody has to advance.
All right, so what's your dad bracket this week?
I got hip fun party dad, who lets you do all the fun stuff at the house, versus button down bossy dad, who's a rule stickler.
I was gonna pipe up and fucking say, what's the dude from Aerosmith?
Steven Tyler.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Tyler.
Steven Tyler, but he's the cool mom who buys everybody's beers.
I feel like Hip Dad's probably divorced and only gets to see his kids on a weekend, which is why he acts like
Yeah, right.
So it depends which day of a week this fight takes place on. Because if it's Monday through Friday, like Fun Dad's got a job, so you probably can't make it.
Right, and he's gonna be fucking tired.
But like you catch him on every other weekend, Fun Dad's got all the energy, man. Fun Dad's ready to go. You want to go fight at the zoo? We'll do it in the fucking tiger pit.
Or he'll just get all the fucking kids as his minions because
Oh, because I love him so
yeah,
much.
Stickler Dad only has one set of kids.
But stickler dad uses the belt. Or the spatula.
Oh yeah, that's a paddling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Party Dad has like fucking 80 kids, just like hanging like a mob.
Yeah, because Party Dad was fun. So your Party Dad had probably a couple different kids, a couple different ladies.
It's just he's decided to pull it dirty and just give the kids meth. Just take them straight to meth.
We went straight from fun cool dad to like
Skeevy bad dad.
Bad
dad.
This is not the envision I had for hip fun party dad. Hip fun party dad lets your friends come over and do whatever they want.
Yeah, but he's got to win.
But week
So
oversight.
he's got like 80 kids pulling the blitzkrieg on fucking this one guy. They'll be awake for like 40 hours.
I think you're maybe thinking of more like a food stamp dad.
Yeah. Food stamp dad.
Yeah, this is.
I had all these kids
yeah.
to be my minions. That's a whole nother
One
dad
of them.
bracket.
One of them will get famous or rich and take care of me. You just play the lotto enough, man. You'll win something.
Is that a whole new bracket we're gonna
I don't
open up
know.
right now? Food stamp dad versus
Lotto Dad.
Lotto dad. He plays the
All right,
scratches
yeah.
He plays
every
the
night.
numbers. He plays the numbers. There's a hot streak coming. He can feel it.
They're both playing the numbers. That's his finisher, hot streak.
Oh yeah, dude.
He just gambits you with all the lotto tickets. He just
No, I feel
shuffles
like
them out
I
at
feel
you.
like he'd have like the quick hands from scratching tickets, where it'd be like that speed bag, and he'd come at you just like.
He just peels the flesh right off of your face.
God,
with
dude.
a quarter.
Scratches. He's got the scratcher.
Have you fucking seen Steve-O when he gets on the fucking bar cards, man?
Oh yeah.
Dude, he's just like, oh, he's like so good at opening them. It's insane. But like, he won a decent amount, but he didn't break even.
Nope.
And he ended up losing
that's
it
the whole
all.
thing, yeah. That's the whole thing. They don't know when to stop.
Yep, and because anytime you win, that's just more chances to win big.
Like, I could see it if you're just like putting a few bucks in and you haven't broken even. Just play it till you fucking. It's part of the fun, but don't keep going.
Yeah, especially like if you get paid out like $40, $50 on
That's
something,
good.
it's just like okay.
Dude, he's won some decent like amounts with that though. He's won some like $200, $250 cards.
Yeah, but he's probably spent a lot more than that.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm not keeping track of the numbers, and I doubt he is either.
So
But they don't seem to add up.
I'm going with Cool Hip Dad to win the first bracket and Food Stamp Dad to win the second bracket. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm going with Stickler Dad. I feel like he's organized. He knows how I think he's got a strict battle plan. And Hip Dad is just like, we'll just mob him. But Stickler Dad's got the belt ready, and he's like, I'm going to use the metal end.
Ooh. Well, if he gets
child abuse.
Yeah, that's abuse.
Not stickler dad.
Yeah,
That's abusive dad.
Yeah, if he gets to use the metal end, then fucking Cool Hip Dad gets to use his fucking methed out child army.
I thought we already split the child army into welfare dad. You can't just mix and match dad parts. You can't. It's not build a dad. It's dad bracket.
Pay your age, build a dad.
Pay your age. I'm 45. This is the most bullshit stuffed dad I've ever got.
Like strict dad, like got ready for the battle and everything. Hip Dad was out letting his kids party.
That's what I think. I think strict dad prepared. Strict dad has a regimen. Strict dad works out. I think welfare dad wins hands down. Like the child army. Like
that's going to be hard to top.
Like there's a reason African warlords use it. It's effective. But
Grill Dad might stand a chance against that though. He's just got hot irons.
Ooh, yeah. I mean,
that's another bracket for another time.
Stop it. But I'm saying he could be stopped.
Here's what I'm saying though. We do need to actually start building this bracket because once we start putting,
we're gonna forget.
Oh, 100%. I'm already forgetting all the matchups. So I might say strict dad, especially when you factor in the belt.
All right, that's the second pick for strict dad. Gotta go with that.
Strict dad wins and welfare. I think welfare dad won hands down.
Yeah, because fucking lotto ticket dad doesn't have any money for food, so he's weak.
Lotto dad's at the casino trying to win big.
Yeah, Lotto Dad is barely filling out that large button-down T-shirt and his.
It's seen better days. It's seen better days. A little worn at the elbows.
He spent the
on
last of his
coat.
money on cigarettes and scratch-offs.
Yeah, dude, bumming for a Lucy outside Pato.
All right. So this week, I have another thing for an ongoing thing.
A thing for a thing. Tell us about it.
I have two additions to the CCU.
The Canadian Cinematic
Double
Universe.
up.
Yes. For the uninitiated out there, we have a Canadian Cinematic Universe, which is like the Marvel Universe, where we have Canadian superheroes that are just like anti-superheroes. They're not very super.
They're Canadian. They're more Canadian than they are heroes. It's like one part superhero, like 4 parts Canadian.
Right. So what do we want? Do we want the good guy or the bad guy?
I want another good guy. Celine Ladame was the last good guy we had.
Okay, so this guy's name is Smelios.
Okay.
He thinks he's a druid, but he's just crazy because he got too many concussions playing hockey. And he never cleans his gear, so there's just mold growing on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I like that though. He's just like a big mushroom covered, like a mushroom capped hockey player.
Yeah.
He's
He's got like moss, all kinds of stuff.
He keeps his gear in his garage like during the off season and just like threw it in there wet. So there's just
Yeah, he never took it out, hung it up. He just kept it in the bag and it
Ride it hard, put it away wet.
So it's both his his dementia from getting knocked around and fucking his exposure to spores making him hallucinate.
I think he's great.
Oh, I love that. I'm getting like a really good visual of like the purple hockey gear and then just like the green moss like hanging off his shoulder pads and shit. That'd be a pretty cool little hero, man. I like that. Him and the Wall would be great together. The goalie and the
goalie who's actually just
because one's like mentally deranged and the other's just stupid.
And they'd get along great. It'd just be like Dumb and Dumber, but with like Canadians.
Yeah, and then John Boba Fett would just be like so tired of being stuck between them because he's like actually competent.
Oh,
he could like beat ass and was actually part of like who worked with like law enforcement and stuff like that. And he's just like, I can't believe I'm stuck with these fucking idiots.
Because like it would always be the issue of it's not that he can't save the day. It's that he has to save the day and fix whatever the other two assholes messed up. And it'd always just be a not again. Only he'd like have like the French accent because he'd be French Canadian.
That was the flaky croissant guy. I thought that was a.
I mean, Jean Boba
We have so
Fett.
many.
yeah,
We have
yeah.
so many. Our 2 new viewers have no idea who these people all are.
Well, stick around and you'll learn. That's a good one. I like both of those.
So you ready for the villain?
Yeah.
No, he only went over Smelly.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
He's got
Jean
the
Boba
villain
Fett
now.
already existed.
Yeah.
So the villain for the Canadian cinematic universe is it's a spoonerism of Kid Rock. He's Rid Cock. He's an evil religious celibate eunuch. So
Well, of course he's a celibate.
He had his like dick chopped off in a fucking like accident in a machine shop or something like that. And he's just like this grand trashy TV evangelist. That he's just like
preaching out of a mega church that's always under repair.
It's like the CCU's first cult leader. We've been on cults a lot, so
Yeah,
that's
from our last session.
Yeah.
Where our guest
It's called
had a brother in a cult.
Yeah, it's called aspirations, Doug. You got to have goals. I like that though. It's got a little spice on it.
It's kind of a little bit like a play on words, like Molotov cocktease, you know.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Good old Venture.
Yep, Smelios and Rid Cock.
I like Smelios a lot.
Smelios was
I got a very good visual picture of Smelios.
Yeah, right. That was
Just a guy covered in mushroom and moss and like.
Yeah, good visualization.
And he smells too. But I like him hanging out with the Wall because the Wall was our
goalie.
Our goalie
dumb
who
goalie.
just everyone seems to think was a bit off, but he's really just from Texas.
Yeah, he's from America.
And his superpower was just he's in the right place at the completely wrong time to him. Where it was like if somebody is running away from like a bank robbery, he would just be like standing there, and his power also is he just can't get knocked over. So he just like stop a robbery and be completely oblivious to even
what
helping.
just happened, yeah.
I always think he'd be great with the burning building. People are trying to escape, and he's just like, "The Wall is here!" And he shows up in the door, and nobody can get out. I just think, just the best moment for him. Just like that'd be great in a comic book.
That could be like the downfall of the Avengers, where everybody hates him.
Yep,
he accidentally
accidentally
killed a bunch of
15 people in a fire. Just like I watched my nana die. Ooh, okay. You guys want to hear one of the new fresh takes? I think this one could be fun.
What is this now? The new read.
Best finger tats. So I've seen, like you've seen the people with like the tattoos across the knuckles that spell out some shit. What's the best finger tat you could ever see? My first suggestion is jerk time. You'd literally have a hand that just says jerk.
And the other one says time.
The other one says time.
Yeah.
I mean, time is eternal. Like that one's kind of deep. The other one, though, got one thing on my mind.
I got one. Rid asterisk cock.
That's what Emily's good one was. Cocksock. She thought that'd be fucking hilarious. I'm like, then one of your hands literally just says sock.
One would be knuckle, abbreviated K Nuck,
Okay.
and then baby, Babby.
K Nuck BBY.
Yeah, BBY.
You got any Crusher stuffing?
Not coming to mind.
You just gotta quickly think. What's 4 and 4?
4 and 4. Fuck. Cunt.
That's too simplistic.
All right, I got
Brevity is the soul of wit, Stefan.
one going off of the toilet humor.
I'm giggling already.
Pallet jack safety video. This is the OSHA safety standards to masturbating with a pallet.
Whoa, what?
Yeah. So like a pallet jack where you like have like something that you do that.
Oh, you got to jerk the pallet
yeah.
off. You got to milk the bull.
Or you're just like deriving some sort of like sexual pleasure from the pallet itself, which is just unpleasant because it's like,
the
wooden and
wood,
splintery.
Because,
and it's usually not very...
splinters.
Yeah.
I like it when it creaks under a large load. Take that baby right around a sharp turn.
Yeah,
and you
500-pound
just feel
load. It's like, oh, wait, I'm way under spec for
you
this
just
one. I'll be good.
Feel the weight of it when you're pushing it across that shop floor.
And then a secondary thing for that was millennials aren't just using pallets to create furniture, but they're sex toys too.
I feel like I could see someone like making some like shitty abstract art. Like, this is from pallets at local companies that are showing like the blood of America. And it'd just be like a bunch of like shitty 2x4s pulled off a piece of plywood, like nailed together.
Yeah. Or instead of whittling things out of beech wood, they'd be whittling it out of pallet wood.
That shitty, just like compress wood. It's like, those things do not have a long life. That's why I think the pallet jacking position where you could breed the strong
Pallets aren't made out of that.
and get some real
Pallets aren't made out of that compressed wood, though. They're made out of good 2x4s.
Some of them are, dude. Some of them like rip the fuck apart. But if you could breed some master pallets, you know what I'm saying? Some hardy, good American homegrown,
fucking
corn-fed
mahogany.
stock. I'm talking like Kansas City's football team. That offensive line, man. I want pallets like that. You should breed the pallets with the Kansas City offensive line.
You could have another artisanal like sampling store next to a sweatshop where you go to like
Pick
taste
out
the
the
artisanal sweat. It'd be the pallet, and it's just where you can taste old used wood.
No, see, I feel like, people who really, really care about like everything that goes into their food at some of these like real trendy pop-up restaurants and stuff, they'd actually go pick out the trees at a place and be like, I want my food delivered on a pallet made out of this sturdy oak right here. Can you cut this down and make some cardboard boxes to put tomatoes in and have those delivered? I don't really give a shit about the tomatoes, but those boxes better be.
I just thought of a concept for a new CCU villain. Ooh. It would be somebody who sets up a laboratory next to the wood pallet shop where they're putting the wood into the food, and they're trying to develop an enzyme so humans can actually digest the food. Digest wood.
Is he called Termite Man?
Yeah, but he just never get it right, and everybody who goes into the restaurant just has to fucking pass wood splinters through their fucking ass.
I veto this character. I don't want to talk about
him. It's too evil.
It's just that, right. And
He doesn't seem very Canadian.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's just mean. People have to poop wood. Plus, I think Canada's got a lot of villains in it.
Yeah, we've been doing way more villains lately.
That's what I'm saying. Canada's a polite land with the polite people.
Yeah, man. I just got a new CCU hero.
Okay, let's do it.
His name's Intuit. He's Inuit. And he's like down for everything. He's down for everything. Like he like looks like Kenny kind of like he's just in a big like fur coat and he's got like the mittens and he kind of just like he just kind of like follows behind everybody. He's just down for everything. He's just like, yeah, we could do that.
Like, oh, you want to go? Okay, yeah. I love this guy.
Yeah, that might have been the best on the spot.
His name's Intuit. See, I was thinking like Intuit, where he'd be like a telepath, like he could like intuit stuff and just be like, oh, I got a feeling about this.
Yeah, he could. He did.
Oh, it could be his power. Though.
He'd be like, oh, I put my, the stereotypical, what do you want me to do? Put my ear to the
spirits-
ground and listen for hoofbeat?
And it's like, oh, I hear hoofbeats.
But he'd always just be full of shit.
Yeah, like it'd be a joke, and then it would just work.
Yeah, it would just work out in the end.
Right, like he'd be like at the command center of like, the nukes are about to go off, we're about to go to war with America, and it's just like there's like 50 buttons, just like, what if like just one of them just turned it off, and he was like click, and it'd just be like boo, shut down, completed, and it's just like, wow.
And then it'd be on some of like that mystic shit that he doesn't even believe himself, and Smelios, he's just like tripped out on his
Just
own
like,
fungi.
this
He's like,
guy.
wow, this guy is really into something here.
Speaking of fun guy, I work with a pretty fun guy who breeds fungi, and not the type that are illegal, but like super
just, like, into
rare
mushrooms and
super
shit, yeah.
rare like saltwater tank mushrooms. And these things look like an acid trip gone wrong. They are like a million different colors with bulbous, porous, crazy things. And he's like, yeah, so you put a rubber band on it when it gets big enough and like grow a second mushroom out of it when you like split it and have it regrow. And you can sell like a decent sized one for like $500. And I'm just like, what? This guy sells mushrooms legally.
You also have to be like careful that you don't introduce any like foreign bacteria into it, because like,
Yeah, I mean, like he knows.
I'm
all
guessing
about
it
that shit.
works
Yeah, I
like
mean,
any other mushroom when you grow it. The
No.
legal ones is that if you get any foreign matter in it and you eat it, you'll fucking die.
Well, I
I don't think he's eating it. I think he's selling it to other growers.
Yeah.
Oh, you just I like mushrooms and I just
well,
want to
they're
look at
for
it.
like
There
they're-
are people who are into growing things.
Well, they're. I think they're really good tank decorations for fish because of how crazy these things fucking
that's
look.
probably true.
So it's like for saltwater tanks, where like when you have tropical fish or something, you have these like exotic tropical fucking underwater colorful. It's for people with the super aquariums and shit. Like there's some people who like fish, and some people don't eat pussy.
Oh, for the choppiness in the stream, that might be because we have both of you trying to stream it and I'm outputting it. Because I've seen it's a little choppy in there, but I don't want to focus on that too much. I don't want to derail.
Yeah, every time we get meta and talk about the stream, we lose a viewer. Alex, don't leave us.
No, we lost one from just them not knowing what the hell we were talking about. We went deep into our own meta.
That's fine. This is what this is for. This is for us, not for you.
This entire exercise is just
This is to
a
catch
mental
ourselves
masturbation.
Yeah, this is to catch ourselves in a time capsule for.
For when we're old and friendless.
I look forward fondly to that day.
Meaning 2 months from now.
Yeah,
Once I realize what cons you are.
When you guys got another read?
I do. It's I don't even know if it's like a suggestion box or just like a Seinfeld joke. But
That's fine.
I don't know if I ripped this straight out of Seinfeld's
no,
mouth.
I mean just like it's one of those like, so what's up with airline food? It's basically the idea that like, is there some secret law that as soon as your wife gives birth and you as a proud new father, does the doctor first hand the baby to your wife and then give you a pair of New Balance shoes? Or does he give you the New Balance shoes and then give her the baby?
I feel like you already bought them.
Oh, like she got
Like you were like,
You're
she's
paying
pregnant.
the bill. So.
we bought the baby booties and we bought me some New Balance shoes because I'm a dad and I need the comfiest
I'm gonna
shoes
need
on
them
the
at the
market.
hospital.
Yeah. Because I've never known a dad who doesn't own New Balance shoes.
Apparently, they're ridiculously comfortable. I've never.
And that's
owned
what
a
every
pair.
single father says is like, well, when you're on
I had a pair of New Balance
They're
shoes.
supposed to be like really good orthopedic shoes. Like, I mean, supposedly they're tops. I've never owned a pair though. You had a pair? Did you love them?
Yeah, I loved them. They were just some like gray ones, and I wore the fuck out of them. But I do that to all my pairs of shoes.
I was almost going to buy a pair because I was only hearing good things about them.
I actually had to switch back to my fucking beat up pair of shoes I was wearing before I bought those DCs, because that's the first pair of shoes I've just straight up bought and they hurt my feet. Never had that happen before. It always just like goes away after a bit. I just have this one spot on my fucking foot now that,
Doesn't go away.
yeah, whenever I wear those, it just fucking never goes away. And it took a while for it to go away once I switched back.
I've only had one pair that did that. I bought some really fly Adidas, like old school high top shell toes type things. These things were bonkers and they were purple. And they did not fit. They were made for a person like, I don't have like particularly like big, wide, flat feet, but like these things were like this wide. Like it was.
That's so
were,
weird because Adidas usually run wide.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Especially compared to Nike. Nike runs really narrow.
Like I even got like a pretty big size. Like I got like an 11.5, 12 type shit. Like, and it was still just like, it was so tight on my foot. And it was just like, I've never had this issue before.
I was gonna buy a pair of New Balances because they got into skateboarding, but I just decided to
New
stick with
Balance got into
Adidas.
skateboarding. I had no idea. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I was gonna get a pair, but I just decided if it ain't broke, don't fuck with it. And Adidas is amazing. Adidas sponsors, come on. Nike, come on, sponsor Sean, and then sponsor me, Adidas. So.
we'll have competing ads. That's my dream.
Oh my god, I heard this fucking. No, I don't want to tell that story. Actually, it was Tom Segura's story. That's where I remember I heard it. Sean, how familiar are you with Phobos, the Greek from Greek mythology?
Mildly. I'm trying to remember exactly. I thought this was going to be an astronomy question originally.
The moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moon of Mars.
Yeah.
I have like some follow-ups to that, but
Phobos
it's the
is
son of Aphrodite and Ares. But it's a moon of Mars.
Yeah.
But this was more off of the god than it was, because he's the god of fear.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, which is where the word phobia comes from.
yeah, I was thinking of the of a commercial for Mentos, but instead it'd be Phobos, the fresh
fear
maker.
maker.
The fear maker.
So instead of the person who you'd give it to your foe or whatever, you'd give them the pack of Phoboses,
Yeah.
and then they'd be like, huh,
and then spiders would fly out of their mouth.
and then they'd just be transported to some sort of bottom of the sea hellscape.
Suddenly they're fucking saturation diving at the bottom of the Mariana Trench and they don't know where they are. There's just a small light ahead of you and you don't know what it is.
Fucking one of those anglerfish. I've actually seen those things. They're always depicted as like big and scary. They're actually like
Yeah, they're
really
very small.
small.
Yeah.
they're fucking little horrors though.
Oh yeah, spooky fish. Dodo. That's also where like colossal squid and shit live though. So as the one type of seafood I don't really eat is like octopus and squid.
So
the
good,
idea
though.
that there is one that's 700 feet fucking long
Right?
terrifies me.
They live in the deep, but I don't think they live that deep because
No, they actually have just started pulling up ones that have started to like find, because with the deep sea ocean temperatures changing, some of the real deep squid
They're moving up a little bit.
they're moving up a little bit and they're seeing shit of size they've never seen before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's fucking terrifying.
I was talking about the Mariana Trench though. Like James Cameron did that thing where he had that capsule that went to the bottom of it. And when they went down there, I think he did pull back some like life samples, but it was basically just untouched and desolate as far as like the seafloor down there.
Well, I mean, it's not like there was Atlantis hiding down there, but there's probably some shit we haven't seen yet.
Right.
I remember watching most of that footage. It's just like a barren, flat ground.
You know,
Plus, you also have to imagine things with like the type of senses.
So you
that
get
can
to the
detect
occasional
things.
whale carcass that slinks all the way down there, and then it's like
Becomes a little like oasis in the
in the
desert.
barren desert because it's
like
really
the
just
desert.
like
You got to know where to look for things because it's like there's not a ton of food down there.
there's
Like,
a
nature
giant
doesn't reach.
scorpion down there.
Yeah. Oh my.
A crustacean scorpion.
It's like it's a lobster scorpion.
Yeah.
It's a lobster, but the tail, while still juicy and delicious, has a giant venomous stinger. It's like the fugu fish. You have to carefully like remove the venom sac before you eat it.
Oh, I wonder how many people had to fucking die before they figured out
lot.
how to get that out of there.
And my question is, even after you realize that there's one single bite of delicious fugu in the middle, is it really fucking worth it?
Right? People take some of the poison like in small doses to get
Hard.
I mean, yeah, to get hard.
high.
Oh, I thought it was a aphrodisiac. I thought that's where you're going with that.
Yeah, most of those things like clams and oysters, they say it's an
that's- yeah, I
absolute
know.
just because it looks like the puss. That's about it.
Just because it hypes
That's the
you
real
up by going,
criteria.
at least the pussy doesn't look like that oyster. It could be worse. I could be sticking my tongue in something that looks like that.
I don't
for
know.
45
I've seen
minutes.
some fucked up strange, man.
That's why do you think they call it strange, baby? Don't let your kids watch this.
Right. I have one more. Anybody else have any?
Let me go through the list. There might be an untouched one in here.
This one kind of came out of watching Wild Wild Country. So there was just this scene where the news reporters were they do it nowadays where they put them like on some sort of like sound stage, and then there's like a clear pane of glass, and then there's just like a bunch of people toiling around on computers in the background to make it look, nice.
Like they're researching.
Yeah.
Here at the offices of Kim and Lavoie.
They had one of those where there wasn't even like a fucking pane of glass behind them. It was just like open air, and most of the people had left. It was maybe like 6 o'clock news at night, and the desk wasn't even that fucking great. Maybe for like the 80s it was, but this is like back in the age of it's popular in linoleum over wood floors. So I was just like thinking of like some guy sitting back there who isn't really aware of the broadcast, and he's just looking at some like niche porn. He's just like looking at people like drinking piss out of like high heel shoes. Yeah, beakers. Beaker piss drinkers.
It has to be milliliter marks, like glassware. If I don't know exactly how much piss is in there that she's drinking, I don't know how hard to be.
If I can't see the meniscus, I can't get hard.
Woo! Bringing it back to 8th grade science, dude. This guy is about it. My computer's about to die because I forgot to bring my charger.
Well,
there goes one of our viewers.
That's All right. So, is that the end for this adjusting box?
I think so. I think it went pretty well, though.
All right. Then we will BRB.
Right. No, we were supposed to alternate every other word, you dick.
Why you gotta put me on the spot like that?
You're on.
Our final segment, my favorite segment, music.
What kind of shit black metal do you have for
I don't
us?
have black metal today. Mark the Shark Shelton died today at 60.
Who the fuck is
of
that?
the band Manila Road. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
They formed in 1977. They kind of have this proto heavy metal, like, how would I describe this? It's not Slayer or anything like that, and it's heavier.
Thank God.
It's heavier than Sabbath though. And Mark Shelton's the main composer. He does all the guitar work, he does the vocals, and I hadn't really checked him out until today because it was in the news that he passed away. I actually really enjoyed it. It's a combination of nerdy D&D, some pretty solid guitar work.
So it's like Dio meets Slayer?
It's like Dio meets... I almost want to say like a Hendrix type feel. It's got... Because it's like... It's got this hippie, like... This hippiness to it. It's just like a stoner D&D guy making metal music.
Fucking Dio meets the Grateful Dead.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
yeah, there you go. That's a good one. And I really enjoyed it. The vocals were a little weak because I'm not necessarily used to a more almost like folky sang lyric pack. But the album I checked out today was called Open the Gates, and many of the songs are inspired by Arthurian legends from Tennyson Idyllis of the King. Like, it was a cool album. Like, it was a cool thing to listen to. Like, solid instrumental work. The vocals were a little off for me.
Sir Robert.
Well, it's not It's not that folky, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the guitar work was really solid, and I'll check out more of their discography after today for sure.
Cool. So what's the name of the album again?
Open the Gates by Manila Road. R.I.P. Mark Shelton. Mark the Shark.
Rip Mark.
Yeah.
Why'd they call him Mark the Shark, you know?
Because it rhymed.
I don't actually know yet, because today was my first experience with Manila Road.
Hey,
Yeah.
speaking of that, Rattlesnake Jake, it's his birthday today. Shout out to Jake, friend of the show.
Yay! Happy birthday. That's like a sexy happy birthday.
Let's get Fergie for his birthday in here.
Happy birthday to Jake the
What do you guys
Snake.
got?
I got something from the other side of the world today. Got the Hilltop Hoods. In their probably my favorite album. They do like a series of albums that are, I think it's like 3 long. But my favorite is Walking Under Stars. There's the State of the Art, Drinking from the Sun, and Walking Under Stars. Walking Under Stars is the second one from 2014. They generally release an album every like 2 years. They have a new one out actually now. But going back, Walking Under the Stars is
Walking under the stairs.
on the upside down stairs.
Yeah.
It's like an MC Escher painting. No, but the one thing that's really cool about listening to, especially like hip hop artists of other countries and languages and stuff, is the rhyme schemes suddenly change.
Right, they're fucking different.
Exactly. So words that you would never thought would be uttered in the same like kind of 16 bar.
Particularly if it's translated.
Yeah.
Because they're rhyming in their language, and then when it's translated, it does not rhyme.
Yeah, that's why I don't really do the translated. I'll listen to it like in the original language and then just try and go find out what it means sometimes, or just like enjoy the flow of like a babbling brook because I essentially don't know what the fuck they're saying. But
They could just be saying "fuck you" in particular, Sean.
fuck all Americans. Sean Sullivan is. It sounds like they say my name in the middle of the song, so it's like really catchy to me, and I kind of like it. No. But this one does have such breakout hits as Cosby Sweater, which now takes on a slightly different meaning. And they draw like a lot of the like old school like hip hop, you know, because I've noticed that when you go like kind of to other countries, sometimes they have, you know, American music, but they'll be kind of behind the times as far as what's hot. Like I went to Germany and they're like bumping 80s music everywhere they go. And so they have a lot of the like old school hip hop roots, and they kind of have like a song called The Art of the Handshake, where they have basically like a voiceover and sample of like how handshakes first started, what they were, you know, meant to show. Like neither party had any weapons on them. They evolved into like elaborate rituals where you could tell who was in and who was like maybe a cop, because they didn't actually know what everybody from the neighborhood knew, how to do this one fucking handshake and shit like that. But beyond the rhyme schemes, like alone, these guys are phenomenal lyricists. Fucking Hillatapa drinking down a fifth of vodka, light it up and spit it on you. Like these guys are fucking hilarious. And I won't beat around the bush like it's 70s porn. I'll make you wish that you'd never been born. Like these guys are just fucking geeked, and like so many of those like little just like, wow, that guy just really went there, like said that really foul shit, but like I can dig it. It was really funny.
It was really clever.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of cleverness in there, which I really appreciate from artists, because you get tired of hearing the same very repetitive rhyme schemes about like your money or about how cool you are, about how big your dick is. So it's fun to hear them said in new ways.
You know, I've found that even like in the opposed thing where it's like things that are more like narrative driven, where it's like basically emo rap.
Yeah.
I don't like that either. Like it's much more heartfelt than like the money stuff, but it's like okay, this is bad too.
And that's the thing, is like I appreciate a good narrative story or a good song with a message or a song with a twist. But after I've heard it like 2 or 3 times, I don't really need to hear it again. You know, like you can only watch Bruce Willis be dead the whole time so many times before you're like, well, The Sixth Sense just really isn't doing it for me. But with some of the more like, you know, banger, like the party songs where it's just like, yeah, when I'm drunk, I want to hear this because it's catchy and I can sing along to the chorus and I get to go, all I want to do is pop, 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 pop.
On that point,
Bunny in my name.
that song, what's that song called?
MIA Paper Planes.
Yeah, MIA Paper Planes. There's a YouTube video out there. It's called MIA Paper Planes, but every time it's a gunshot, it's a musket. And it's literally the song, but when it gets to the gunshots, it's a guy firing a musket, going through the entire reloading process,
And then firing.
firing again, going through the entire reloading process.
So it's like 30 minutes long.
It's like 9 minutes long. And it starts out, it takes a while to get to that part, but then you get to it, and it's like, oh my God, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
I like that. But yeah, Hilltop Hoods. I almost saw them because they do come to the States. So if you live over here and you get a little interested in them, they were in Chicago this year actually, and I unfortunately didn't get to see them because I was busy planning other multiple Chicago trips to go visit other artists, and they didn't make the cut, which sucks because they're actually pretty cool and would have been really cool to see. The kind of crowd that shows up for something like this, an Australian hip hop artist, like only like the real like. I've listened to so much shit, I ended up here and actually kind of liked it. People are going to be at that live show.
Right.
So, I'm sad I didn't get to go. Hilltop Hoods, though.
Mine this week is just kind of one from the bag I had to pick up. It's good old fashioned Laserhawk. Stefan's probably familiar with it. I don't know if you are.
Yeah.
No.
Little Laserhawk.
It's more
Hop in the Night Rider and go for a cruise around town.
yeah.
It
It's
sounds like some straight vaporwave shit.
synthwave.
Oh, okay.
Synthwave. I actually
That's
saw
the audio version of vaporwave because vaporwave's like an aesthetic.
I saw a picture depicting what the difference between vaporwave and synthwave was. So the first picture was
They just inverted. One of them's like turned 90 degrees.
basically, but it was a vaporwave was just like the aesthetic color scheme of a stormtrooper on a surfboard just riding a wave. And then the synthwave was the same picture,
But with a keyboard?
yeah, with a keyboard guitar in his hands, and it said vaporwave versus synthwave. Learn the difference; it could save your life.
Did the vaporwave stormtrooper have the jazz cup marks of like the blue and purple across his chest?
I can't remember that far back.
God damn it, Doug! The people need to know.
But dude, Laserhawk has the coolest logo. Bring up one of those, like the Hawk logo. It's like a really that one. I really like how the Hawk is just like the tail.
Yeah.
But the album is Laserhawk Visitors. It has my all-time favorite like synth retro, like modern retro song. It's called Laserhawk's Theme.
All right.
This one.
It kind of this is Visitors, the artwork for Visitors. It's just like an Elite Dangerous style like polygon. It's like very 80s, but it's like made into like an actual like nice rendering. So Laserhawk's Theme is kind of like, it reminds me of an instrumental version in like spots of that song that did the Breakfast Club theme song.
Oh yeah.
Like it just like has like a kind of like sound aesthetic to it like that,
Yeah.
but there's no vocals or anything, where that's like a very like a vocal driven song. Like the synths that like drive the chorus of that song kind of have the same like sound texture.
Bum,
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
dun, 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 dun. Bum, bum.
But it has this like really nice crescendo that the song starts out with.
Yeah, a little bit of Sousa Simple Crash in there.
And it's only 2 minutes long, but it is just gives me.
I might have time to
goosey
listen
bumps.
to that in my busy schedule. I might just be able to block off 2 minutes to listen to a little bit of synthwave.
Synthwave's good, man.
I wouldn't know. I don't have robot ears.
That sounds like just like some sort of gross derelict lab drug that is like
Robot ears or Laserhawk?
no synthwave.
Synthwave. It's like it's the craze that's sweeping the nation.
It's the synthetic
do in
weed
Judge
addicts.
You just put a little bit of wave in your cup, man.
We are effectively making sound effects into the microphone now, so it might be time to call it. Get
so
the
what
fuck
did
out
we
of
all
here.
have? We had Manila Road for your introductory metal needs and some inspired guitar. We had Laser Hawk with your synthwave robot ears and the Hilltop.
Hilltop hoods for when you feel
I was
like
going to say the
going out.
Hilltop Lollipop Gang.
The Hilltop Lollipop Chop Chop Chop.
All right.
Go outside, you dirty heathens.
Yeah, with some air.